Welcome back, viewers, ladies and gentlemen, to the Heroes Lounge Legendary Cup. I'm Karis, and this is
Heroes at School.
And you're watching the Legendary Cup, where we're about to go to the second semi-final of the day. There's been two other semi-finals going on our sister channel, Heroes Lounge 2, as well, as cast by Dentro and Yosh. I was trying to remember who that was, but well, I don't know. Do you know where those matches are up to? Because I think I'll tell you what. I'll get some intel. But you tell us what we can expect from Northern Exposure versus Team Heart.
Yeah. So like we said just before the break, it's again a match of Division 2 against Division 3, and you can tell from the ranks of the players. I just used the break to look a little bit through the ranks. Like, you see an advantage for Team Northern Exposure here. But like we saw in the first matchup that we saw today in the first quarterfinal of Team Snore against Team Deers, there was like, you really couldn't tell that different, at least, especially in the second match where Team Deers put up an amazing performance there. So maybe we're gonna see a surprise coming in here as well on our second quarterfinal. But again, as in the first match, the favorites, of course, are Northern Exposure.
Yes, and I believe we're ready. We're just about ready to go into our draft. No, we're not, because there's some technical issues.
Player dropped out, didn't it?
Yeah, some of these. But I've heard about this. There is a bug. there is a bug that going around with where people can't quite join custom drafts and things. People disconnect and stuff, and it's a bit unfortunate. So we're still looking into that.
I've never seen that, actually.
It's a fairly recent bug that's been affecting a few teams, actually. And Heroes Lounge has responded by saying, well, if people can't connect to the draft, then we allow like people to stand it like a draft substitute, so you can have someone draft for you and then okay. Sort that out that way. So Northern Exposure, I mean, so we did a poll earlier today on the channel where Northern Exposure came out as the favourites of who would win from the viewers, who would win the Legendary Cup today. Now that's surprising because they weren't the favourites going in at the group stages, but it seems like they must have had a strong performance in the group stages to impress people, I guess.
Yeah, they did have a clear victory of Group C. So they won all 3 matches there with a map score of 5, so only giving 1 map away there. And I guess that probably was against against Lumpensammler, actually. They lost a map there. But apart from that, they seem to be pretty dominant in the group stage. So maybe that changes the opinion of many people here.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is that, because the group stages is more an indication of, how you'll do against teams in a cup setting rather than let's say the division stages where things are, teams are often finding their feet and stuff. So maybe we'll see something.
Yeah, but apart from that, we already can tell, like, we do see Rainy Day Eric already asking for the free win. So maybe some nerfs even in the role of the favorites here. Not only the fan favorites, but also the favorites in this role. But actually we see people dropping out of the lobby, left, right, and center. I guess we're gonna make a new lobby.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So, while we do that, we'll take a look at the map bans for this series, which we can see on screen now. So as you can see, Northern Exposure banning Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom, and Alterac Pass and Sky Temple banned by Team Heart. So Team Heart suggesting they don't want to play macro. That's what that says to me. Like if you ban Alterac and Sky Temple.
And we very often see the difference between teams that really like more going on a micro-based map and teams that really like the bigger macro-based maps there.
Yes. So I think, and Volskaya have definitely, as we just seen, a lot about team fighting. And surprise, like we said, we were surprised to see a Volstad pick on Volskaya, and yet that that worked pretty well in the end for Team Snore. Now that's kind of, it came down to them just winning the team fights at the end of the game, rather than that continuous macro push. Yes, there was a bit of pressure in the lanes because of the Volstad, but I don't think that was what secured the victory overall.
No, not at all. And I quickly, during the game, I checked the damage numbers on the Volstad. They were not too big there. So I guess the clue really was the synergy between an ETC frontline who were very well peeled against that single target combination from the side of Deers. And it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to see a heads up between two teams that go for likewise or the same setups. Like, will we see more single target? Will we see more sustained team fights combinations here? On Volskaya, I think you can, on Volskaya, this is actually a map here where you can run both of the tactics.
Yes, I think Volskaya, you can. One of the reasons globals don't get so much value is that there are conveyor belts that go from the bottom to the mid that take the rotation time off that anyway. So I think we're almost ready to go into draft for game number 1 in this second semi-final of the day. I'm just waiting to hear results from the other side of the, because by the way, for viewers who don't know, there are other quarterfinals going on Heroes Lounge 2, where we're currently showing Donar Fedoras versus Alcohol, and that's still going on. I don't have the results in from the first quarterfinal happened over there as well. So as soon as I hear any information about that, I'll let you know. But for now, we don't know any results other than the ones we've seen here on this channel, which is the Team Snore won 2-1 against Deers, and they're through to the semi-final. As we go into our second quarterfinal of the day, it's Northern Exposure versus Team Heart.
Question already asking if this is a best of 3 again. Yes, it surely is. All game will be best of 3, except for the grand final. This will be a best of 5 series.
That is correct. Yes.
So what can we expect here? I guess we still see the standard bans against Alarak and Garrosh, maybe, or not.
Maybe not. No, there we go.
Okay, 50% correct. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I guess this is a target ban, isn't it?
I mean, it must be. Obviously, Zul'jin does stack well on this point, because usually you see long, continuous brawls on that objective, where Zul'jin can stack a lot, and it's a bit like playing ARAM. But on the other hand, yeah, you don't usually see a Zul'jin ban, so I assume it's targeted. And ETC, as always, getting prioritized fairly early in the draft. With the Joanna ban,
but this time we saw it work once. We saw it work not at all in another game, in the second game from the first quarterfinal. We saw a lot of trouble for that ETC. It's going to be interesting to see. I guess we're going to see enough interrupts. Johanna is banned out, by the way, and so we see actually a priority on the Sylvanas and the Irel here.
Sylvanas, yeah. I mean, I know Eric does value that Sylvanas, and he is devastating on it, so I think that's fair enough. And Baby Houdini, by the way, for fans of Baby Houdini and Eric who are playing here on the left, they will be casting some of the Mythic Championship here on this channel tomorrow, so you can tune in to hear their views, and probably they'll have some reflections of their own from the Legendary Cup when they are giving their analysis on the Mythic. Vala picked up though for Team Heart.
Yeah, so we actually see, like, this feels like 2017, something like it, the late stage with the Vala-Auriel combination and an ETC frontline. Might run the double support with the Uther as well here to maybe even have a Divine Mosh Pit from the good old days, together with the Auriel and Vala combination. Can work pretty well if you get an AoE maged up still in that combination.
Malfurion bans, so really trying to choke out the supports here on the side of... But that leaves Rhaegar open who has the cleanse as well. So I'm a little bit surprised to see the Malv priority on the ban rather than the Rhaegar when you're looking for that lockdown with ETC and maybe the whips from Oriole into a wall.
Yeah, me too. I guess this is kind of a ban towards a certain player on the side of Northern Exposure here. And we actually see Alexstrasza and Tyrael coming in here. So Tyrael is the main tank together with the Alexstrasza. That is a complete poke setup because Tyrael can jump in and jump out again. We can Sylvanas see poke with a W from afar and her Banshee Wave. And if they get an opportunity for a kill, for a finish, can teleport in and finish off with the Wailing Arrow here. And yeah, sustain fight on the other side as well. So 2 sustain teams going in here with Blaze and the Junkrat. It's gonna be a question who pokes better, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable enough. I think Blaze as well offers the saving with the bunker, so that might be a response to Sanctification. Is if the enemy sanctifications, you do your own sort of Blaze sanctification, which is to hide in the bunker. So I think that might be the idea there from them. As Mephisto rounds off the draft for Northern Exposure. I mean, what do you make of the Mephisto there?
Yeah, I think I like the idea because Mephisto is good for poke, or better than most people expect, because he can teleport in with his E, do his damage, and he's immediately just by the spell itself pulled out again. So he's quite strong for poke, but the Mephisto pick does bring a problem with it because it's like the only hero of which you know 2 seconds earlier where is he exactly gonna be at. So he might be targeted by the slide from the ETC or the jet propulsion from the Blaze. And the Vala and the Junkrat can provide enough damage during that stun time to lock him down and finish him off.
Yeah. So this is looking. I would say both drafts look very, very well rounded and have got a lot of teamfight threats. So I mean, it's really anyone's game to play for here. I didn't see who was the favourites in the viewer betting. But no time for that now. Let's go into game number 1 in the quarterfinal. And in blue on the left, it is Northern Exposure with Irel playing Baby Houdini playing Irel, Eric playing Sylvanas, Alias playing Mephisto, Juicy playing Alexstrasza and doing some strange dancing, and Cordoon on that Tyrael.
And on the right side, we do have 4 Team Heart, 4 Division 3 coming up. Peruna on the Blaze. We have Lucas on Junkrat. Varys is playing the Vala. We have Dami on the ETC. And Moo Juice is playing the Oriole.
Yes, absolutely. So, both these teams going to start posturing now. Let's take a look at the level 1 talents as they come in. Blaze going for the globes, the new habits, going for that unstoppable. I mean, slightly surprising because there isn't that much lockdown on the side of Northern Exposure, so I'm not really sure what he's going unstoppable for. On the other hand, it does reduce the cooldown repeatedly of that trait that gives him some survivability as well.
Yeah, kind of surprised actually to see the Unfurling Shadows coming in here for the Sylvanas. As you already have like the spell damage covered from the Mephisto, and usually you see that the Q talent picked on level 1 first. Actually don't know the name just yet. Obviously we do have Brock Rock, as there is no auto attack damage coming in, or basically no auto attack damage coming in for the side from the side of Northern Exposure. So pretty standard talents so far. Kind of interesting thing I wanted to mention is the Junkrat into the Alexstrasza can be kind of problematic for Northern Exposure, as a Junkrat with his Concussion Mine can negate a lot of healing on the circle from the W of Alexstrasza. So that might cause some problems. We're gonna see that.
Yeah, I think we might well do. Still, both teams playing fairly cautiously and going for their camps early on and getting the turrets up and running, and now going for the siege camp on the side of Team Heart. Going to get that rolling as well before the objective and get some continuous pressure. No, actually, it looks like they're going to hold it, actually. I spoke too soon. and save it for when the objective is rolling and put pressure that way.
And we actually see some praise going on here from Northern Exposure. So they don't seem too nervous yet, at least. Maybe confident, maybe just having fun, what probably you should do. But yeah, we see an interesting rotation coming in as the moment Siege Camp is taken for the side of Northern Exposure, and we see Team Hard immediately losing the time and getting that clutch biotic emitter before the first objective phase. Oh, nice concussion mine, but Tyrael has no problems just diving out, but his Q is on cooldown and he gets isolated, he gets caught by DDC, and he actually gets finished off by the Auriel there in the end. So good catch here on the Tyrael, initiated by a strong concussion mine from the Junkrat.
I love that coordination from Team Heart. So they use the Junkrat mine to knock Tyrael back, and ETC immediately runs not towards the Tyrael, but to where Tyrael's going to have to escape to. So good knowledge there from Dami on the ETC, and just being prepared to cut off that escape with a slide, and that's secured them first blood in this. But of course, Tyrael will be back up in time, plenty of time to contest this first objective.
Yeah, we actually see the Mercenary Queen on the Sylvanas coming in here, but first let's stick with the team fight here.
Yes, as both teams trading below, Blaze takes a fair chunking of damage, and bear in mind he doesn't have his globes up and running yet so far. He's only on 6 globes out of the 15 needed to get that cooldown reduction on his oh no, the cooldown reduction is baseline, sorry, and he needs to get the unstoppable, he needs the 15 globes. I spoke too soon. And both teams are gonna just sit back a little bit cautiously, but that means the ticking is going to go in favor of Team Heart, as both teams are level 7.
And actually you can see like kind of a plan from Northern Exposure to maybe already focus on that second objective, as we see Sylvanas and Tyrael pushing on the top lane, and that Sylvanas can push a lot of herself with her trade. So they already got tower and wall down, but it doesn't look like they give up the objective for free, and they rotate in now.
Yes, and Irel jumps in immediately. ETC trying to zone, uses the face melt to try and control Baby Houdini, but look at that healing, and out comes the Dragon Queen. Is this the time to disengage for Team Heart? They don't normally want to fight into a dragon, and I think that's what the call is. They're just going to sit back and reset and get ready to go in again once that dragon is down.
Yeah, they definitely had the advantage of the time there. They didn't have any pressure, so they could let the dragon out, and they can re-engage with having 98% on that protector and immediately go in for a turret first. Both teams actually are, so we're gonna have 2 more turrets coming up into the decisive fight for that first objective.
Yes, so I think this is going to be the big fight. Yeah, both teams with 2 turrets. Oh no, am I right in saying the one turret was used?
Both teams with 1 turret.
Yeah, both teams with 1
in total, 2 turrets. Oh, nice isolation. That concussion mine with the follow-up from the Auriel. But Auriel is still alive though. She falls in the end to a tower shot. And that isolation was perfectly placed from Team Heart here. Strong performance by Junkrat and the Auriel. And the fight is still going on. They get the kill against Tyrael. Auriel's pretty well healing everyone, as they can clump up together and everyone gets a chunk of that Auriel AoE heal.
Yes, huge play there. I mean, initiated by the Junkrat with the great concussion mines, and that's something that I'm not sure how Northern Exposure have to answer that. I find Junkrat a really annoying hero to play against, and clearly they are too. Is 3 kills to 0.
I hate it so much to play against Junkrat. He can be such a pest. A very strong Junkrat can displace you so much with the concussion mine, and especially if he aims perfectly, you're gonna end up into his root steel trap there, and you're gonna have a lot of trouble there. But now he's in a lot of trouble as he dived a little bit too deep there, but with another heal from Auriel is able to escape.
Well, don't forget that the level 10s are also up here for Team Heart, so they can, they have the Crystal Aegis available if anyone's in trouble, whereas level 10s are not up on the side of Northern Exposure, as Northern Exposure being very aggressive for a team that's a talent tier down, but they choose to sit back and get back to soaking after scaring away the Protector.
Yeah, and I actually thought that, but it looks like Team Heart is pretty aware of what the situation was. Level teams are both here, and it actually looks like we do have a contest on that. Oh, wow, and there's the root from the Mephisto coming in.
Yeah, but
But
only
this
catches
is not
on to
decided yet.
Blaze.
What a fight!
Yeah, Blaze doesn't really care that much about it, and that's one thing where his unstoppable trait will help once he gets those 15 globes running. Currently, oh, he has finished them, so he does have the unstoppable available when he needs it. ETC slides out to safety, and both teams.
And we just talked about how big of a nerve-wracking, or how much nerve-wracking a Junkrat could be, and you saw that. Like Tyrael saw a good engage. He came in with his Q on the biotic emitter, but he immediately was just pushed away again from the concussion mine, which was perfectly placed. So they were able to secure the biotic emitter, and afterwards it was kind of difficult to really go for a fight because he had the disadvantage of that blink turret. And kind of surprised by Durance of Hate. I know it's a strong ultimate, but with only 2 melees on the side of the Team Heart, I don't know if they get that much value out of it.
No, I mean, and also it depends basically on a lot of things and on how many heroes it hits. If it's just hitting Blaze like we saw there, Blaze isn't going to care about it. ETC, if it's just hitting one target on their own, Oriel's usually going to save that person with Aegis as well, even if it's not Blaze. So the question is, can he get a big juicy Durance which hits onto like 3 or 4 members? And then you might see some real follow-up with a Sylvanas Wailing Arrow with loads of Mephisto damage and with Irel going to town. And that's when the Durance could be hugely impactful. As for the engages...
Yeah, and usually I don't think that going for that big play is a smart idea to go for, especially on the higher ranks, as people pretty much know how to avoid that. But first of all, it negates one thing, and we saw during that first objective that Team Heart is benefiting a lot of being able to clump together, get a chunk of Auriel healing on everyone. And that is kind of negated as long as Durance of Hate is still up. You have to be careful about that, so Auriel cannot provide that much heal as she did before. But we do see an engage coming in here. Blaze with the isolation. We do have... Oh, Sanctification is there to save everyone, and that is perfectly placed. The bunker is there to save on the other side, but dear ETC might be in a lot of trouble, and he might have to drop his healing turret here, but he still doesn't do it. He keeps on it, and now he places it, but the silence is here, and ETC is the first of all, Junkrat is the second, and so is the Blaze, and Auriel finished there as well, and voila, I don't think she has too much of an escape there, and we even have the Dragon Lady pulled up just to keep everyone alive and continue with the push immediately.
What a fight there! I mean, it all comes down to a world-class Sanctification from Cordune on the Tyrael. Now, just in case you've forgotten, they were level 12 at the start of that Northern Exposure. It was 12 versus 13, and that's why Team Heart said, look, we've got a talent tier lead, we'll go in. And Tyrael was like, no, you won't.
No.
You're under our towers, and we're just going to sit here invulnerable. And what are you going to do about it? And yes, the bunker is a response to that, but the bunker takes, it takes a second or something to warm up, and it was just, a little bit of a panicked effort. And then ETC had to hide in it, and when he came out of it, of course, then he's out of position, and in the meantime, his teammates got run over. So that's a great turnaround by Northern Exposure, who were a talent down and took a level lead basically out of that one fight.
Yeah, what a strong performance. And I think I'm not sure. I think that Jet Propulsion did not connect, like the first initiation. And I think if you can stun lock there with the Jet Propulsion and the ETC slide, then maybe you might have a chance to maybe get a kill before Sanctification pulled off. But in this case, Tyrael was in a perfect position there, and as you said, negated basically all the engage there with.
Yeah, and this is surely what it's going to come down to. I think ETC's job in this game is kind of to interrupt Sanctification, and he's going to have to use Phase Mail for that. He has gone for the reduced cooldown, the mic check on level 13, which is going to allow him to use more interrupts. By the way, level 16 is just about to come in here, so that's why they're forcing the fight right now. Gets the lockdown onto Baby Houdini. He's got to be careful. He starts to stick back. ATC hides in the bunker. Great bunker from Peruna, who's now thinking about going back in. I think Northern Exposure want to just sit back here and wait for 16, but they're not choosing to so far. They're still taking the fight as Sylvanas gets whipped into the wall. In comes the mosh pit attempt. Dancing, but the Sanctification protects Tyrael for now as the Absorb comes out from Irel and she's ready to turn around. Level 16's nearly here. In comes the Blaze Stun. Peruna's got to get out there though. There's nobody left on his team to save him, and he's the first to fall in a very long fight.
And again, that split second Sanctification came in before that mosh pit saved so much. because we saw that Sanctification ran out before the Mosh Pit did. And that actually, the fight is not finished. We see the Endurance of Fate coming in, but Crystal Aegis is here to save ETC. And it's a 4 against 5 situation, but it doesn't look like Team Heart is actually giving up on that objective yet.
Surely they have to. They're 15 versus 16, 4v5. I don't really think they can contest it. I think they're just going a bit of Junkrat poke in. By the way, yes, exactly, you're right about the Aegis. Like I was saying earlier, the Aegis just kind of denies the Durance if the Durance is only on one person. So Durance won't get that much value in that case. And like you were saying as well, these teams are so good, they're not going to clump up for one big wombo combo from, you know, to get 5 people in a Durance or something. So I think the Durance isn't getting that much value so far, but it's still early doors, and I think if they get one of them late game, it will end the game on a few targets.
It sure will. And I guess, yeah, it's kind of clutch. I guess that ETC slide really has to hit the Tyrael before he pulls off his Mosh to make sure that the Desanctification does not deny the Mosh Pit.
Yeah, and the other thing he has to do is use the Phase Melt to interrupt the Tyrael as well, and that requires just kind of an awareness from ETC about the sort of timing that Tyrael is going to use on his Sanctification. This Protect is about to end, but the positioning is not great for Auriel. She has to jump out, and the Durance just about misses. Lovely escape from Auriel. And so, oh, it wasn't Durance. Durance was not actually used. It was just Mephisto lunging in. So neither resource is committed, but both teams getting away fully healthy. But this fort surely is going to be next to fall. Fight kicking off though. Eric's falling pretty low to Junkrat, and the Auriel's got a lot of healing for Junkrat when he gets in a bit of trouble, which he has done. Auriel heals up, used the Aegis on herself, which means it's not available for Vala, who was caught in the Durance and blown up, and Auriel's next to go down, and Blaze might be able to get Jet Propulsion out of there. But apart from that, it's a pretty rough situation here for Team Heart.
Yeah, Tyrael's double kill, and we actually saw a lot of value coming in here from the Endurance of Fate, as it was hitting 3 members for the first time and 3 clutch members as well, as Vala and Auriel got caught in it, and those are the guys that really you don't want to have in the Endurance of Fate.
By the way, welcome to everyone who's just come along from Heroes Lounge 2, where they were watching the other quarterfinals. You're watching the second quarterfinal here on Heroes Lounge 1. This is between Northern Exposure on the left and Team Heart on the right, and this is game number 1 in this best of 3 quarterfinal.
Yeah, and you can see, like, you have to be fair, like, it's really so far a strong performance from Northern Exposure. I don't see too many mistakes on the side of Team Heart, or like a lost draft situation or anything like it. It's just a very strong performance so far from Northern Exposure.
Yeah, and I think that the Tyrael Lorel double threat is really nice because ETC's not really sure who he has to control, and Blaze, you know, isn't really giving the same kind of control. And if he doesn't control Tyrael can press Sanctification and save his whole team. And if he doesn't control Irel, just going to do Irel things and run around being an annoying goat in the backline, as in fact Baby Houdini's going now. Lovely whip from Auriel though, provides a bit of peel, can follow up with that Junkrat trap. ETC got to be careful though. Vala falling pretty low, and Auriel's not in range to heal, but the Mosh Pit's absolutely huge onto 3 members, 4 members now, but the Sanctification to follow up. No members have died yet, and that's an absolutely huge sank, and ETC's falling low in the meantime. Aegis stays in for now. Blaze goes in, tries to get some lockdown with the slide to follow up. Cordium, can you get out of there? No, it's ETC who's the first to fall. And ETC goes down, and now this is a massive turnaround after a huge Mosh Pit. Is Blaze going to fall as well? Probably not with the Auriel healing, but Moojuice, huge whip to save his own life. And only ETC dies, but wow, what a fight there by Northern Exposure.
What a fight, and what level of gaming actually from both teams here. Well, let's stick with it for a moment as Sylvanas was jumping in, and she gets the kill against Auriel there with her trade. She was not afraid to jump in as she was able to negate a lot of the towers. Junkrat is the next, who is in a lot of trouble after he got isolated, but now it's Houdini who has to be really careful. Unstoppable is pulled off on the Irel here as level 20 was kicking in, but she still falls, and so does Divala as Irel managed to get one last out of it. Pull off to finish off the Junkrat there, and Blaze was in it as well. So immediately getting the counter kill there. It's a 4 against 2 situation, and that is gonna mean a keep at least.
Is this going to be game? I don't know if they can go all the way. They're 4v2 with Oriel alive in 10 seconds. They really want to, though. Eric stepping up. Mephisto's behind. Tyrael, the Sanctification,
He's
the
low on mana too. I'm not sure if they can go for this. Blaze is maybe committed a little bit early, as Oriel is not yet here, and they're still missing a lot of damage, and that is gonna heal them a lot, probably, or help them. But we do see the Lifebinder coming in. Mephisto is healed up to full health, and the two tanks are still going after them. And they get the isolation on the Mephisto, but where's the damage to actually get the kill? There is no damage. And we see Sylvanas jumping after them again, and they retreat to the remaining keep on the bot lane, but it is a not. They defend it off the core, so they are still in the game.
Yes, and of course level 20 talents came in during that 2-minute fight there between the teams for Northern Exposure. The Holy Arena from Tyrael. These Sanctifications have already been huge. Now they last 5 seconds, and they increase the damage done by his teammates. Bolt from Sylvanas to provide a bit more survivability, and Alexstrasza going for Blessing of the Red. So what we might see is more HP, more max HP on Tyrael, so he can't be blown up before he can press Sanctification.
Yeah, that's gonna help them probably a lot. But to be honest with you, I mean, we had in the last fight, like the start of the fight, you know, like in the middle of the map, because we have to be precise if we analyze that last team fight because it went on for so long. But we had like the perfect engage for Team Hard, as we had a valuable mosh pit, very valuable mosh pit, and basically no value at all on that Sanctification, as Riptire damage was already done, and they had like a slight break of damage anyway during the time of the Sanctification. So still, they managed to win the fight in the end. In this case, I guess it was mainly due to the Dragon Queen, who was there with clutch healings there, and with that burst healing provided.
Yeah, and I don't really know what more that Team Heart could have done, because the mosh pit was before the Sanctification, and that, you know, that's what we've been saying they need to get, is the mosh pit before that, and, you know, get some value. But they didn't get any kills in it, and that's, if they get the perfect mosh pit, it doesn't matter if they're not getting any kills with it, and then the Sanctification can be pressed afterwards. Tyrael needs to be blown up in that mosh pit. But then on the other hand, you're now looking at a Tyrael with a very juicy HP pool and Blessing of the Red on top of that. As both teams are posturing here. Level 20 zone for both teams. ETC potentially going in for the mosh pit. The bunker's already been used, but Vala's already fallen to Eric Sylvanas. So this is a rough situation here for Team Hard. They've got to fight 4v5, using the bunker to come in and out, get a bit of poke, but Tyrael doesn't really care about this poke damage. He's got enough sustain for himself. The whip hits onto Tyrael. Can they control him for long enough? Lovely circle there from Alexstrasza. Tops everyone up. Mosh pit is still available. Catches onto Member, but the Sanctification again completely denies it. It's absolutely savage. It's going to be surely the end of the road for Team Heart here. The death metal on top, but it doesn't matter because that Sanctification was so enormous from Tyrael.
Junkrat still getting the 2 kills, but it doesn't matter at all. They're gonna finish with the Protector through the mid lane. And what a team fight again. Very well placed Sanctification. And you have to be fair, like, if this time there wasn't really a counter to it, but it still was on the perfect timing. I guess that's even harder to do. Like, if you see a CTC slide coming in, you know Sanctification is a good timing, but that clutch timing on the Sanctification was not so easy to predict or to see. So very strong performance there.
Yeah, incredible, absolutely incredible. Because the mosh pit was great if everyone wasn't invulnerable. Like, not interrupted, is catching on multiple members, but Tyrael's Sanctification is proving time and again just great coordination here from Northern Exposure, and they're looking devastating already after just one game in this quarterfinal.
GG here, of course. And yeah, it's like that mistake. I guess a lot of people do that. If you're a squishy hero like Vala, who really tried to be in a safe spot, tried to be like further behind, but the problem is if the rest of your team is actually initiating and you're going in with 3 or 4 members into their backline, and you're facing a Sylvanas, and we actually saw that in that last team fight. You might face a Sylvanas all alone on yourself because you thought you had a good position, but Sylvanas can jump in and jump twice right around you, providing with a lot of damage there and getting the solo kill against that Vala, and that basically opened the door for that team fight in the last, for that level 20 fight on the bottom Protector. Yeah,
and I think it was already a rough situation. I mean, by the way, there's credit to Sylvanas just destroying Vala there in that final fight. And that's partly down to those stacks that you were talking about at level 1. because by the end of the game, Sylvanas had stacked that like a gazillion times over. So was able to just tear through Vala, and the fight was split enough that ETC and Oriole couldn't save Vala from that. And then once Vala was dead, it was a bit tough for the team of Team Heart.
Yeah, so this time, at least, like we saw that in the first quarterfinal as well, but after a rough start. And this time, I felt like we really could see that that level of skill taken upon, because it up until the end. It's like barely any mistake that you could make out. You can like say something here and there, but after all, I guess they just Northern Exposure just outplayed Team Heart here in the first match.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely in for a real treat. By the way, we have some results that have come in from the other channel. So, COB Geilebanger, the German team, are through to the semi-final against Team Snore. They won 2-0 against Onichance. So, after this quarterfinal, we're gonna cast the semi-final between Team Snore and COB Geilebanger. That'll be on probably, well, whenever this series finishes. So stay tuned for that if you're a fan of either of those teams. And from what we saw from Team Snore in the first series earlier, that should be very interesting indeed. So we are going to Battlefield of Eternity for game number 2. And that was picked by Team Heart. So Team Heart choosing to go for map in their game number 2 and opting for Battlefield. Now, we saw that strategy from I've forgotten their name now. Who was it against Team Snore? Diaz earlier, when they lost their first game, they were like, game 2, we're going to Battlefield of Eternity, and they dominated on it. So do you think Team Heart could pull off a similar kind of turnaround here?
I'm not sure actually, because in the first matchup that we saw today, I felt like we had a complete difference between Infernal Shrines and Battlefield of Eternity, like map-wise. I think they base on totally different things. And this time we look in on Volskaya Foundry and Battlefield of Eternity, which doesn't make too much of a difference. And I don't think like you can get too much information like how to encounter the team of Northern Exposure there. I'm not sure if they really run this combination of Tyrael and Alexstrasza a lot. So it feels like they are more flexible, and you can't really another hero example for Alexstrasza. I guess it wouldn't make too much sense to ban out Alexstrasza on Battlefield of Eternity, as she's not too strong on this map. And on the other side, like I'm not sure if it's a different game like we did on in the first quarterfinal that we saw.
Yeah, I think it is definitely a different map for sure, and it's not going to be as different as you were saying. But I think Immortal Race is an important factor here. Although, like we were saying in the previous series, you can definitely win it just on team fights, like Volskaya. So I wouldn't be surprised if Northern Exposure just play a similar draft to what they've just done. And I don't know that. I'm not sure that Team Heart had the answers. So we'll see.
And to be fair with you, I would find it difficult to find an answer too. I guess one of the things you could try, because we didn't see that yet, is that single target combination. Like you try to run to engage on a certain target, because they actually lost the sustain against sustain fights, because like we saw in the first match. So maybe go for that. Try to isolate a target, get a certain target out. But if they run for this for the same combination, how do you wanna isolate a Tyrael? He can jump out anytime he wants to, and the rest of the team is difficult to reach as well. Irel is such a hard target, like basically it's no target as well. And with that front line, the backline is pretty well protected.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, the chat just asking, was the betting earlier for the best of 3 or just for the first game? It was just for the first game, and there will be more betting for game number 2. When the draft starts and once we actually get close to kicking off. So for viewers who have just tuned in, you're watching the quarterfinal between Northern Exposure and Team Heart of the Heroes Lounge Legendary Cup. That's teams from Divisions 2 and 3 of Heroes Lounge. If you want to see even higher level Heroes of the Storm competitive action, then tune in tomorrow for the Heroes Lounge Mythic Championship, which is teams from Division 1 as they go head-to-head in a knockout tournament tomorrow. And then if you want even higher level than that, then we've got great news because Heroes Lounge Division S, our premier division, is returning starting next weekend with qualifiers. And there's going to be 4 weekends of qualifiers every Saturday and Sunday. And you can watch those on like Caldor's channel and a bunch of other channels which you'll be able to find on our website, heroeslounge.gg, or type !divs in the chat for more information. After 4 weekends of that, there'll be a Crucible, and there's loads of the top teams returning as well, all for cash money prize, so to speak. So definitely check out Division S, !divs, for more information about that and Mythic Championship tomorrow. But for now, we're still on the Legendary Cup, and we are almost ready to go into the draft in game number 2 in this best of 3 quarterfinal. It's Battlefield of Eternity.
Yeah, and here we go. So with the map pick of Team Hard, we do have the first ban coming in for the side of Northern Exposure. I guess they're gonna run the same strategy as they did in the first match. I'm wondering if we're gonna see another Zul'jin ban. If it was a target ban, we're probably gonna see it, especially on BOE as well. But yeah, we're gonna see.
We are indeed. I'm sort of imagining that the bans are going to be focused on kind of race heroes, as well as the kind of, you might see an Alarak ban, you might see an ETC ban, something like that. A new contest has started for betting, so you can now bet on this game number 2, who you think will win. Type !bet A and a number of points to bet on Northern Explosion, !bet B and a number of points to bet on Team Heart. And you've got about 5 minutes left, so you can see a bit of the draft before you place your bets. If you want to know how many points you got, type, as everyone else has just done in the chat, !points. As Chen is the first to be banned here on Battlefield.
Yeah, we already can tell. We see some people complaining that we turned them into gamblers. But yeah, so first addiction coming in with the series, but it's gonna put up a little bit more of fun to the series. So just go for it and don't bet any money. Okay, so let's talk the draft here. We do see Chen ban, which is kind of interesting to see for me, and the Garrosh and Alarak ban again, as well as the Johanna. So again, a lot of priority on the tanks here.
Yeah, I mean, and that I assume that means ETC is going to get picked early up by Northern Exposure, but no, instead of going for Chromie because she's got phenomenal race.
She sure does. It's gonna be a question of how well she can stack her quests, though. And we see ETC pulled out here again, so kind of interesting choice for me. But I get the priority on the tanks as well, as two main tanks were banned out already.
Yeah. So I think ETC reasonable pickup early on. Sylvanas. Is that a deny against Baby Houdini, or is it actually just they wanted to sell for themselves because of the ability to push with an immortal? Either way, it's been prioritized very early.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty much both of it, probably. I guess that's what was in demand. Like, let's pick it. We can play her well. It's a strong map for her, and it takes away a strong pick, which troubled us a lot in the first match. So I get the idea a lot. And we see actually the Ana. So we probably gonna see a nano boost Chromie, which can be devastating.
I like the Arthas pickup as well this early because that could be either a solo lane or it could be the main tank. As they picked it with Kortune there, it looks like main tank, but of course you can swap later on in the draft. So a reasonable pickup early on, and he's great against a lot of the commonly picked auto attackers on this map.
Yeah, so by the way, Arthas is kind of working well with Zul'jin, and he hasn't banned out yet. So the first ban from the side of Team Hard is actually still open for Northern Exposure. Might be interesting to see if we're gonna see that coming in here. First of all, we're gonna have a ban against Malfurion again.
Yeah, that means that Rhaegar is likely to get picked, and we know how Anna can do against a Rhaegar from
We've
the
seen
first
that already,
series.
yeah, for sure.
So maybe they'll try and switch into a different sport. Tyrande, you were talking about, that could be a great pickup here, gives more Immortal Race, as well as that single target lockdown follow combo with the ETC. So that might be the strat, but no, he's still going for the Rhaegar, as we talked about. But that those Ancestrals, we'll see of course if Juicy is as good at denying those Ancestrals as Porky was in series number 1.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. First of all, it looks like we're going more for that blow up. And with Imperius now on the solo lane, this looks more like the attempt that I was talking about earlier. Like, we can see that single target isolation, that single target blow up combination with the ETC, the Imperius, and that Sylvana burst damage. And the answer to that is another heavy frontliner with the Night Rush disengage and the Lunara. So it's full poke. And this time against Engage, but it feels like draft-wise, Northern Exposure is pretty much ready for that, for the peel that they need.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, and rounding it off with a Li Ming by Lucas. That's solid for the race. I mean, overall, whose draft do you favor here?
I feel like I guess we can see by the way, we can see Arthas on the solo lane or Mal'Ganis, so they could swap either way. But I guess we're gonna stick with the Arthas with that amount of slow that he provides. Lunara can do a lot of damage, and together with the Army of the Dead after level 10, we're gonna see Li Ming in a lot of trouble to get her damage in. So I really favor the draft of Northern Exposure here, let alone the performance from game 1 that we see. So my bet would go with the Northern Exposure.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I think that's my bet as well. I think Arthas, bear in mind, he can take Army of the Dead, and the ghouls are just going to ruin Li Ming. You just get ghouls all up in her grill, and she can't throw out her projectiles. So it's a bit of a tough situation for Li Ming there. Chromie and Lunara, phenomenal racing heroes. Li Ming's decent, and she's got good poke, but Chromie and Lunara will make short work of that. Still, everything of course comes down to execution. So let's see how we go as we go into game number 2 in this best of 3 series. And in blue on the left, it's Northern Exposure with Cordune on Arthas, Alias on Chromie, Eric on Lunara, Juicy on Anna, and Baby Houdini on Mal'Ganis. And credit to them for dancing around the fort.
And on the other side, we do see coming in for Team Hard, Virus on the Sylvanas. We have Lucas playing on the Li Ming. Peruna is playing the Imperius. We have Dami on the ETC and Mujus this time on the Rhaegar.
Teams are, as you predicted, Arthas is going to go here as the main tank rather than the off lane. And with that in mind, he's gone for that W build, the Frost Presence, that will allow him to stack those roots and get more of them later on as they get stacked up. Chromie, of course, stacking with the Qs to get more echoes, and of course they'll do more damage to the Immortal as well. And that's all fairly standard so far. ETC with Prog Rock and Li Ming, we're seeing very commonly to pick these days, which is Force Armor, because these days it doesn't just give you the spell armor, it also gives you the mana regen when you're low.
Yeah, and especially like we said in the first quarterfinal on Battlefield of Eternity or any other map where you're not provided with regeneration globes, you really want that bonus mana because you don't get it from anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I still like Ether Walker on Battlefield only because it's still because it gives you the bonus damage on your Qs and the free teleports and stuff. But yes, the Force Armor is going to protect Li Ming here from Chromie and Lunara as well, and just give her a bit more survivability as well as that mana regen. So it's kind of a double utility there.
Yeah, so one talent I think is kind of interesting, at least to me it is the Slumber Shells on the Anna. So it's providing with even more slow, as if they didn't have yet enough from it. But kind of an interesting talent. Hardly ever see that. Usually I still see the Mine build the grenade build from these days on the Ana picked. And of course for the Sylvanas, not like we saw in the first match, we see this time actually the might of the Banshee Queen, so the standard, more standard these days, more standard talent on level 1 for the Sylvanas.
I'm slightly surprised by the slows on the Sleep Dart, like you were saying about on the Ana, just because slows don't stack. And when you've already got the slows from the Arthas, the slows from the Lunara, maybe the slows from the Time Traps if Chromie goes in that direction, then yes, indeed, she has. Chronic Conditions has been picked by Chromie. Slows don't stack. Like your Arthas slow and your Chromie slow are not going to stack with your Ana slow. You know, somebody's either slowed or they're not. So I'm not sure that it gives extra value to have 5 different slows on your team.
Okay, so we see actually a pretty early commitment towards the siege camp coming in from Northern Exposure here. It's still 7 seconds for the objective, so I guess they could decide, Team Hard could decide to defend this first before going for an objective fight. But it looks like they go for their own siege camp themselves, bruiser camp, excuse me, while they def on the bottom lane, the siege camp. So the other side, Northern Exposure, that is. So we see Engage coming in here with the Night Rush. A lot of damage on the Li Ming, right into her path with the W from the Chromie, and the finish against Li Ming there. That was a strong single target isolation here, the Night Rush, and a good prediction from the Chromie which way that Li Ming is going to run.
Yeah, and with that, they should be able to secure this first half of the Immortal very, very safely. Nature's Culling on the side of Lunara as well just chunks down that Immortal so swiftly. Chromie has her level 7 talent in already. That's a proper greeting, which is of course synergizes nicely. Now here's the Time Trap, which is going to slow the enemy team and give them some speed to get away. So nice Time Trap usage there from Alias to escape. So good coordination here so far from Northern Exposure, and it's securing them an advantage in this Immortal.
Kind of surprised that it didn't manage to get a kill there, but Ana with a perfect grenade there as well, to heal everyone up who was in threat of death. And there we see Chromie from a cheeky position, providing with that Immortal damage. He's gonna poke it down. ETC does not have to slide through walls, does he? No, he has the increased range on level 4, so he can't reach there that easily. And meanwhile, we see Arthas going in the backline. Night Rush to interrupt everyone. 4-man sleeping there on the side of Team Hard. And now we see the focus coming in on the Arthas, and he actually falls. And on the other side, the objective is done. So it's a 1 kill against the objective. It's just gonna be half shielded, which is the first objective, so it's not too much of a threat. But nonetheless, it is a bonus here, and I guess they can live with the kill against Arthas Void.
Yeah, and it's got a juicy shield, that Immortal. It's got half a shield. Yes, Li Ming and Sylvanas will make short work of it with no Arthas there to threaten. And Lunara can't even get into the damage to towers, which is what she wants to do with that Nature's Culling. So, I think maybe they're not too worried about that on the side of Team Heart. So, fairly even games so far, all things considered. 1 kill apiece. Yes, the Immortal got 2 towers, but nothing more.
And yeah, we see on level 4 the Charged Blast on the side of Li Ming, so a little bit more of an aggressive build for that race, for that objective. Without the domination, she won't get healed by kills. So yeah, that is a minus in health, but a bonus on the arrays. An understandable choice, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So and the thing is, the dominance only works if you're actually winning a team fight. That's the problem with dominance. So I think, yeah, absolutely, as you're saying, just focusing on getting that, avoiding team fight, just focus on getting that Immortal down, and yes, also poking enemy heroes when necessary.
One build that kind of catches me by surprise, at least a little bit as well, is the build from Imperius. I guess you could have gone with the Q build here, as your team is running more towards a single target focus. There we see, by the way, let us stick with it before we talk more about the talents. Wow! Boom!
This side flank from Baby Houdini. And then that's the classic combo that we see in kind of high-level play with Mal'Ganis, is just put a sleep on somebody and then Chromie just drops, Chromie or whoever's got a single target burst drops I was going to say something not allowed on stream, a significant ton of damage on the target who's sleeping, and they can't really dodge. Yes, it wakes them up, but when you're woken up by a dragon's breath landing on your head, it's not very pleasant.
No, that's not a nice way to wake up. And yeah, securing the kill there very easily. I think she could have been killed twice with that setup that they had.
Yeah, and I think Ancestral, when Ancestral is up, level 10, is not even going to be in time to save somebody from that kind of damage. So
yeah,
maybe
for sure.
Ling will have a
Especially
teleport.
if Mujus is sleeping himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if he's put to sleep by Ana or something else. So there's lots of ways that people can be blown up by.
Yeah, and especially with that clearer shout-out target, with the sleeping target, with the sleeping Li Ming, you can put the grenade on her as well. So even if you get the Ancestral in, it won't heal anything.
Level 10's in for both teams. Arthas pops the ghouls and starts running towards ETC. Lovely little escape from Dami, but the slide interrupted by the roots, so now he doesn't have an escape. And Arthas has run very deep, but his ghouls have just run out, so Arthas doesn't really have anything left for survivability. I think his Icebound Fortitude is still available, but apart from that, he's got nothing. And so he steps back. And now we'll see how this fight proceeds as the time trap's there, setting up for the Li Ming combo. ETC slides in, tries to catch Mal'Ganis. The silence isn't going to keep him dead long enough. Just about manages to get his ultimate off on double-digit HP, and that's going to keep him alive for a few seconds more. Although Imperius really wants Baby Houdini. Baby Houdini escapes, but Lunara is not so lucky because of the space that's been created by chasing that Mal'Ganis.
Wow, that Chromie damage is really taken off slowly. She's already sitting at a 30k hero damage, which is twice the damage that the best damage dealer, in this case Sylvanas, has for the side of Team Heart. Nice time trap again to interrupt here, but not saving the Mal'Ganis. He falls to the damage as Dark Conversion Carrion Swarm is not up yet.
Yeah, I was literally about to say the time traps are doing massive work this game, but it didn't quite say Baby Houdini this time. But it was, it's becoming a real problem now for Northern Exposure that they are just starting to look behind in these team fights, as now again Lunara just found out by this Imperius and ETC lockdown. The roots, but no, the Immortal is guarding them. That's the advantage. And now Imperius goes in for the skewer onto Cordune. Cordune has to get out of there with no army available, so sits back.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that they actually fight around the objective of Team Heart, around the Immortal of Team Heart, in a 4 against 5 situation on even talents. That is like maybe a little bit overconfident at the moment. So the next objective is probably gonna end up, yeah, for sure it will, in the hands of Team Heart, and they actually put up a fight. So I guess we can welcome them back in the game. Although they never were really out, the game was even, especially experience-wise, but it felt like they had problems winning in team fights, and in the last 2 they shone differently.
I think in defense of Northern Exposure, what they were trying to do there when they were into the Immortal was they were saying, look, we've lost this Immortal anyway, and we don't expect the enemy team to be defending, given that they've got an advantage. So they thought they were just going to go and get some free poke and get the shield down. But of course, ETC and Imperius were waiting for Lunara when she tried that, and she got punished because there's just so much lockdown here. And Ana's cleanse, am I right in saying, is not up till level 13? As the roots come in onto Rhaegar, he's got to be a bit careful. He sits back, and the Immortal is getting this forward. Ancestral had to be used just to save Sylvanas here.
Yeah, and that's probably a smart choice. I mean, Sylvanas wasn't maybe threatened to death, but she can help with the push towards the keep with the trade. And this way, Ana was not able to get any grenade in to negate the healing from the Rhaegar here. So it's a safe Ancestral pulling off and maybe helping to push on with the Immortal, although they do decide to let it die now and retreat from a very safe distance, and instead go for a quick camp on the bot lane to secure that.
Yeah, and with that, I think this camp's pretty safe for Team Heart. They're looking, they're looking good in this game. Team Heart, they're looking fairly confident. They're not frightened. They're not intimidated by Northern Exposure, who came into the series as the favourites and won game 1. Then Team Heart don't seem intimidated at all. So credit to their tenacity, and they are looking slightly ahead in this game. And that fort is going to give gradual XP going forwards, which will roll them to level 16 sooner than their opponents, unless they make a mistake.
Yeah, so we are on the top lane. We saw Mal'Ganis secure the camp, and it's going to provide a little bit of pressure towards the camp, but I guess Peruna on Imperius is going to be able to deal with that, as the team of Northern Exposure has to be careful on the bot lane to not get punished there with the camp. We do have a Wisp perfectly placed. I guess it provides a lot of vision for the team of Northern Exposure. And yeah, Mal'Ganis knows when to retreat, as they were rotating towards the top lane to help Imperius deal with that.
I like the cleanse here onto ETC just to secure his escape. Imperius goes back in for the skewer, but there's no slide from ETC available because, oh, the Ancestral denied by the grenade. It's exactly what we saw in the first series today. And Khordoon now maybe under threat, but when he's 5v4, he wants to be aggressive, trying to catch the Sylve and ETC, both falling low to the Lunara poison. Rhaegar chops them up for now, so they will get away. But the Ancestral denied.
Make it out alive there. They got lucky that they just finished off with the Imperius there. I think they should have stick with the retreat there that was luckily done by the ETC with a perfect cleanse, and then not re-engaging into this fight, especially not with an engage on that Mal'Ganis, as he can tank quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I wonder if Juicy is secretly Pokey in disguise, playing on this hand. A great grenade to deny the Ancestral from Mojuice. So then Imperius had nothing left and just died. So, first half of the Immortal secured very nicely there by Northern Exposure because of that Imperius death. Maybe now we're going to see an invade here from Team Heart, but they have to go very aggressively in order to do that. Crowie's putting the slowing sands there, so ETC can barely even move. And so they will probably just sit back and wait for a fight in the mid. But the time trap's completely shut down ETC into the sleep. That's nasty. That's a nasty combination. And ETC's been completely destroyed. And with that, Northern Exposure are going to start pressing forwards and trying to take the second half of this Immortal.
They have so many opportunities to set up this single target isolation. With the Night Rush, or in this case with the Time Trap, there's no chance to retreat. We see an engage coming in on Peruna again, the sleep against in the backline against Sylvanas, but she's awake in time and she can try to turn it around, but the backline is providing so much damage. Chromie is coming in, the Immortal is poked down, it's already finished once the poison from Rhaenyra is kicking in, and they get no kill, but they get a 3/4 at least, more 4/5, 80% shielded Immortal, which is gonna provide with a lot of push potential.
The one redeeming feature from Team Heart here is that their Bruiser camp got a fort top, so that's a little bit more structural value that they've got. So they're now 2 forts up effectively, but this Immortal is going to cut through this bottom fort fairly quickly, I should think, with a shield like that.
But they do have to be careful, as Mal'Ganis is still busy on the top lane, so they are in a 4 against 5 situation. And once that fort is down, that Immortal is going to run for quite a bit, and Team Heart might be able to use that situation to get a fight of 5 against 4 into backline.
Yeah, and I think with this Immortal falling pretty low, this is the time when they might think about it, because Mal'Ganis is over in no man's land. So the problem is they don't know where he is anymore because he's not visible in the lane. So that's the reason that I think the Team Heart are not engaging just now, because if Mal'Ganis arrives and gets asleep, then and this Immortal's still going, then that's the situation where it could be game, as Li Ming throws out a combo trying to scare off Arthas, who's falling pretty low. The slide there, can they get the skewer on top? Imperius, can he catch onto this? The Wailing Arrows there onto Arthas, but he's still alive, starting to run away, and ETC's come in so deep looking for that Arthas kill that he might be in trouble. The sleep from Baby Houdini, absolutely huge, catches onto 4 members, and ETC's got to get out of there sharpish. Peruna's been rooted. Arthur's looking for it. Khordoon came too deep for that. Can he be punished? The Wave of Force holds him just about. No, the Mirror Ball doesn't quite connect. On 300 HP, Arthur survives. Miraculously, nobody is dead in that team fight here as a school.
What the hell is going on? I mean, I was like, amazing play from the Rhaegar here, keeping everyone of his team alive. They were looking dead twice or 3 times. That ETC had basically no health bar, just poisoned. And yeah, he was able to survive there with the healing totem and the Q coming in from the Rhaegar. That was helping a lot. But I was surprised that actually they didn't, at least like Imperius was halving back there right next to his keep. And I think they could have gotten the kill on Arthas themselves, but they decided to go for the save right here. And we see no member dying in this amazing team fight.
Now they're going up to take the top camp. Team Heart get it fairly safely, but in comes the swipe from Baby Houdini. Puts the sleep up, will try to catch members, but the slows have stopped him from quite reaching the backline. ETC there with the grenades. Can he survive? No, he can't. The grenade was too savage, and the ETC is the first to fall. Can Imperius be the next? Cordune's trying to survive for long enough for his ult to come back off. Cooldown now it has, so maybe he can get some value. But yeah, 3 members already dead indeed. So great play from Northern Exposure. Again, another fight won from them.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, you saw that active reload paying out twice now. That burst heal coming in from that Ana on the target, once on Arthas. I think in the first fight it was on the on Baby Houdini, or maybe Arthas as well. Is providing so much heal and is clutch 2 times. And we all know that if you're running a Li Ming combo, all you need is 1 kill from time to time, because you can burst out a lot of damage afterwards. But so far, Ana is making a great job of healing all members from her team, as well as Rega on the other side did most of the time. But in the end, this time, we see Northern Exposure with the upper hand.
Yeah, I have to say, whenever there's no grenade, Moojus is doing a sensational job of keeping people alive. Great play from the Rhaegar there. But the grenades from Ana proving so impactful against that kind of Rhaegar burst healing that it's difficult for them to do anything. However, it's not over yet, and this is the time when they might try to fight before this Immortal even lands. This is a potential engage here from Team Heart as they look to try and catch someone. But the sleep denies it, and the Immortal will start pushing.
Yeah, so we do have an interesting situation, because like building-wise, we are still fairly even, but we are half a level away from level 20 for Northern Exposure, and they might get this with the Immortal here or during the push. So they might have a strong opportunity to finish this game, maybe even, because this Immortal is gonna probably get the keep, at least.
I think it depends. Everything depends on whether they get a kill here. And also the level 20 is knocking on the door for Northern Exposure, as they are so close here. Putting pressure on those towers. Once that tower goes down, yes, the level 20s are in here. Chromie has the Pierce already from the level 18. Arthas gets the anti-magic shell. In goes Baby Houdini, looking for the control. The Ancestral's huge onto Sylvanas. God tier plays here from Moojus. The Mal'Ganis is still alive though with his ultimate, trying to cause a distraction. And the sleep to follow up from the level 20 Talon. The mosh pit there. Dami's dead because the grenade can't heal him for now. So ETC's fallen. 2 for 1 though. And maybe if Chromie dies as well. Oh, but Li Ming
again, that active reload, saving that Chromie. Amazing play from the Ana again. And we just saw Sylvanas taken off, not Sylvanas, Li Ming taken off. She got 2 kills out, and she could have tried to go for more. But we saw that stasis on that Chromie, and afterwards the perfect active reload to heal her up against that Li Ming again. And so it ends this game with a victory for Northern Exposure. So we do have a 2-game series in this best of 3. Congratulations to Northern Exposure, which we're going to see in the second semi-final.
Yes, we are. They are going to go through to the second semi-final. The first semi-final, which will be between Team Snore and CAB Geilerbanger, will be coming up in just a couple of minutes. But I mean, first, your thoughts here, Heroes at School, on a sensational performance from both Team Heart, but ultimately Northern Exposure looking devastating.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's in both games. We could tell like there is no clutch situation where you thought, oh, you got outdrafted there, or like any crucial mistake from any team member. Just like the opposite of that. We saw amazing performances from the Rhaegar, keeping them alive with Moojus, who really healed out a lot there with 70k heal. But the number of Chromie, we ended up with Chromie ending up in a 4-8-0 game with 90,000 of hero damage. And for just to compare it, we have top damage on the side of Team Heart. We have Li Ming on 44, or roughly 45, so half the damage that Chromie provided there. And that is basically crucial in this fight. Was crucial in that fight. And to be honest with you, most of that, it's not like that. Not only that Chromie predicted the paths, so most of the times 2 or 3 of her Ws were hidden. We also saw that it was perfectly set up by Mal'Ganis, or maybe the Ana, or a time trap by herself to isolate the target. So yeah, just a strong performance from both teams. A little bit better on the side of Northern Exposure, like making justice of the role of the favorite that they have here, and securing the victory. In the end, you gotta say, very well deserved.
Absolutely, and credit to Northern Exposure for a fantastic performance there. They go through to the semi-final against Donor Fedoras. And by the way, those two teams are both looking terrifying so far. So that semi-final we want to watch for sure. That's going to come up in about an hour and a half. But first, we're going to have the first semi-final, which is between Team Snore and CRB Geilebanger. That's going to come up in just a few minutes. We're going to go to a break before that. And yes, we're going to go for a few minutes break. We'll just leave you with some of the replays from the first two series that we've seen here. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the first semi-final of the Heroes Lounge Legendary Cup. Don't go anywhere.